Evening, and I call the meeting of the Apache Junction Parks and Recreation Commission to order at 6 p.m. on March 7th, 2024. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, no, she's there. I was like, I just noticed Liz is gone, but she's right there. Okay. May I have roll call, please?
Yes.
She's ducking out.
Felicia Madrid. Judy Bory.
Here.
Terrell Moore.
Here.
I turned it off.
Frank Shanebeck.
Here.
DL Kine.
Here.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Here.
Heather Muller.
Here. Do I say we have a quorum or anything? Do I say that? Does that matter? Okay. Yeah. All right. So the consent agenda. Do I have?
Well, actually,
No.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
there's a mistake in the minutes from last meeting. I think it might have been a cut and post issue where we all voted yes for motions, and I'm listed as chairperson. Under number 4, and
Oh yeah, I do
in a
see
couple
you.
places in here.
Number 4.
And then also at the end,
Oh, yes. I see it.
Good catch, Frank.
well, I actually read the minutes.
So since we didn't catch it in advance, this isn't a time for discussion. You just have to you have to ask for a motion. Go ahead and read your script for the consent agenda.
Okay.
You're going to be asking for a motion. If there is a change, then when you're saying your motion, you would just say what that is, or you can ask for it to be remove it from the consent agenda. So you could say something like, I approve the agenda, or I approve the consent items, but I want to remove the minutes. And then it'll get discussed later and voted on. Or you can just say what you want them to change in it.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the consent agenda and the minutes from the last meeting with the exception of the cases where there was a roll call taken and the chairperson and vice chair were misplaced. They were backwards. You should have been chair and I would have been the vice chair. It's under the consent agenda. It's also under roll call. And then on the last page, under 11, selection of meeting times and dates. With those changes, I move that we accept the minutes and the consent agenda.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
So then we have a roll call. We have a vote. Is that what it is?
Yep, then you ask for a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Judy Bory.
Yes.
Terrell Moore.
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
DL Kine.
Yes.
Heather Muller.
Yes.
Okay. It's approved.
And then number 4, that one's all done.
Mhm.
Okay. So number 5, for information and reports. So that's when anybody wants to talk about anything that we've done? Anyone would like to share anything that we have done recently for the month of February?
Judy, do you want us to kick us off?
I'm trying to remember what I did. There's so many things.
That's why I wore the shirt.
No, I literally was like, I wore the shirt so I can remember.
I'm going to pass to you.
Okay, we can come back to you if needed.
Okay.
I feel like we are now in the weather of events.
Yes.
I did do the Lost Dutchman Days Marathon. I, for about a week, couldn't lift my arms higher than this. When you hold that many medals after a while, I was like, oh my gosh, this is, even the young kids were saying that they were struggling with the medals, and I was like, phew, like, made me feel a little better. But it was great. I actually got to give Felicia her medal. She did participate in it as a runner, which was awesome. And then I've been out just a little bit in the parks and just in general because the weather is actually nice. and I'm in denial that it's going to get warmer.
Yes, yes, it is.
Perfect. And then I did sign up for I wouldn't say my first class, but my first paid class. And I get to do that this month with a friend. So I might be bringing clay jewelry next time to show off. Unless it's terrible, then I'll just tell you it was a great class. And I'm not jewelry making material.
Nice. Well, as DL said, the Lost Dutchman Marathon, I participated in the 8K trail run. Lots of fun, beautiful views, and also supported another friend and just kind of hung out with DL, and everything seemed to go really well. Saw lots of parks employees out there. I also visited the skate park to see the fencing that has come down, and it looks really, really good. It's just really pretty seeing it really open, and yeah, it's nice aesthetic. And the new, I cannot remember what the little walls were called, but those walls that we got put in as well, and that looks really good. Everything looks nice. The grass is green, and I personally love like the dandelion weeds and all the little.
You're like, I guess it depends.
That's like one of our favorite things. I actually asked my daughter I was like, what can we do to make this park better? And she's like, plant 64 dandelions. And I was like, awesome. So, and another thing that I wanted to highlight was I got to use the fitness deck at the MGC. It's beautiful, beautiful views, and it's just like DL said, the weather's so nice. It's nice to work out there, and yeah, great improvement to the MGC. So.
I too participated. Well, no, I didn't participate. I volunteered at the marathon. Fantastic event. Did do a drive-by, coasted at the skate park, and I was like, oh, that does look nice. Like visually, it's like, oh, that's nice. So I approve. Nicely done. I did not pay attention to the dandelions. I apologize. Go ahead.
Also, the marathon, I was there for that volunteering, watching the high school students who were watching the intersections on Goldfield. And what a nice group of people, young people. And I've done it now for 3 years, and every year it's impressive what a group of high schools we do get to help out with that. And then I'm back at going to the MGC 3 days a week. Nice. So I get to go by the dog park and Flatiron and get to keep an eye on those. And dog park was getting enjoyed thoroughly tonight. Yeah. That place was overrun with dogs.
Weather makes a big difference, that's for sure.
Right. So, unfortunately, I'm very consumed with homework as I'm going for my degree. So I spend a lot of time at the library, but I'm able to see the fitness deck and how amazing that is. So soon I'll be able to get out into the field and see some amazing things, as we know that March is very busy. So I plan to show my face out there.
Well, I had to cut my days at the senior center, so I'm just there on Mondays now. But so we were part of the rodeo, right? Isn't Parks and Rec the rodeo, or no?
It's a city civic event. We're a partner in it, but it's
okay,
not necessarily our event.
Okay. Well, I went to the rodeo.
You can share that.
And as part, being that we own the property now, so like my eyes kind of took a different view being there, and it's just like really exciting. I can't wait like for all the changes. Like now that I got to sit there and see everything now, it'll be really cool like next year or the year after.
And I guess I'll have to say that we sold all the rodeo tickets. We sold all the carnival tickets.
Wow.
We ran out about a week before the event, a week and a half maybe before the event. But there were only a couple of complaints that we got. I don't know if anybody else did, but one was seating, of course, for the rodeo, and not online tickets. You know, there were no online tickets to purchase, especially people out of town. And that was a real concern for the ones, you know, coming from out of town, because tickets were sold out pretty quick. And that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing. Okay, it looks like we're moving on to number 6, which is staff report.
All right. So I just have a few quick things on parks, and then I'll turn it over to Jamie for recreation. So just some of the things that are coming up since the last time we met. This March, so we met with Davy Resource Group, who is the contractor that's going to be doing the drone plant treatments that we're doing at Silly Mountain. So we have that grant that we were awarded. That grant kicked off March 1st. It was the first date that we could start utilizing it. So our Youth Advisory Council has been out and done another pulling of buffalo grass out at Silly Mountain. And then the contractors that we're going to be using with the drone to do spot treatment of buffalo grass on the mountainscape that is harder to reach. So the parts that we really can't hike to or easily pull it out and get it out of there. So that's kind of we are a pilot for the rest of the state, really. There'll be a lot of other agencies coming out to see how this works out. This group is out of, I want to say, Florida, and they'll come. They do a lot of other like right-of-way work, but this will be kind of the first one that's in a little mountain range, and it'll be a good test project. But it's all part of the grant that we received. And then just as a reminder, you know, the big thing about that is that it's to mitigate wildfire threats in Silly Mountain because of all the invasive species that are in our open spaces and in the desert. Buffalo grass is our worst invasive that's out there. So
the drone flies over and drops.
Yeah, so it actually has little prongs out of it that actually spot sprays, and they'll set it up so that it kind of knows what it's doing automatically, but then the pilot can also stop it and manually, you know, if it wants to avoid a certain protected, you know, so for example, we have saguaros, or we might have another type of native plant that we don't want to get even close to, you know, or that we want to get close to, but we want to be very specific and have a very prescriptive approach. So we're excited about that.
Well, from the looks of that video, I'm sure Elliot will be happy.
Yes, so Elliot, who heads up all of our natural resources stuff, he has been very instrumental in our invasive plant grant, and they're very excited about moving forward in that. So that's coming up at the end of March, we think. So just keep in mind there will be some closures at Silly Mountain. We won't know until the week before because it is very reliant on weather and what the wind is looking like. And so we'll be putting those notices out on social media, but also out on site at all of the entrances to the trails that are out there. The other thing that we have that's kind of going to be coming up, I can't remember if Dave shared this or not, but last month, but the MGC flooring, we finalized all of that contract and that purchase order. Finally, the design was all finalized this week so that all of the VCT, so the flooring that's in the lobby and in the multi-purpose room, the senior center, in the game room, all of those hallways, all of that is, you know, 20 years old now and definitely has seen better days. And so we had budgeted for this year to be able to replace that. So again, just be aware that once we schedule that, there probably will be some either shutdowns, or we'll try to do it at times that we're already closed, but we'll do the best that we can. So just be prepared for that, it's a very important project and we can't wait to get it done. We'll try to work around our, you know, obviously our biggest things. Additionally, there's a lot of pool renovations. You know, we're gearing up for pool season right now, so our boiler is getting replaced. So that boiler is over 20 years old. It's what heats the competition pool. And I know in Arizona it sounds like we don't need that, but we offer a lot of programs. You know, even January, March, April, it's still pretty cold in the water. And then in October, because we've been extending our season, and then the school swim teams also compete in that pool, we make sure that it's at the appropriate temperature for competition and all of that. So that boiler is really important. We've been limping it along for the last 2 or 3 years, so we're super excited to be replacing that. The other item that's going to be happening right before the pool opens is the other half of the artificial turf that's being installed. So just as a reminder, well, I'm sorry, we're taking that to council for a final adoption on that contract. We will be implementing shade. There's a lot of things we'll be doing with cooling off of that area, but it is a major maintenance improvement, as well as something, not so many gopher holes and all the other problems that we have with the grass that's around the pool. So we are anxious to get that started. And then lastly, while there's a lot of other smaller projects in the parks, the other major one is the focal point flowers. So you know this will be the time of year we'll have our transition. So April 6th, if you are interested in either coming out and helping or just coming out and grabbing some flowers for yourself. So this is the time when we transition, and instead of just ripping out the flowers and putting in the new ones, we open it up to the whole community. We offer instructions and all kinds of information on how people can transplant those flowers at their own home. So the community will be invited to come out. We'll be putting a lot in pots, giving them to different organizations that might need them. But we have geraniums this year and pansies. So the geraniums were very successful last year. Anybody who took those home and kind of followed the instructions and made sure that they were in good places generally had good success with them. Pansies are kind of new this year, so we've got new instructions on those. It'll be an experiment whether or not those ones will work. And then they'll be, the guys will come back in the following week and then put in the summer flowers. And that's everything I have. Lots of other things on the agenda related to parks, but that's everything I have for our quick update.
That's a really nice program with the flowers.
Yes.
I think that's great with the community involvement.
I participate. I took a couple of geraniums
Yes.
last year, and I had a bunch of friends. We had fun doing that.
Good.
And they did survive for
Good.
a while.
For a while, yep.
Is there a specific time to come pick up the flowers?
Thank you for asking. So on April 6th, we'll be there from, I would say guaranteed from 8 to 10. If it takes us longer, we'll be there till 11. And then we generally leave a little patch that if people want to come all weekend, they could come, and as long as they bring their own tools and stuff, they can grab them. We leave the sign out and everything. So if they can't make it during that small window, they can come anytime during the weekend, as long as there's flowers left. And then I'll turn it over to Jamie to talk about recreation updates.
I know how much you guys love the pictures, so I will
Yes.
get those rolling. You guys can look at those.
We also enjoyed that video from Christy. I was like, ooh, that's fun stuff.
Oh,
Yes. So good evening, Parks and Rec Commission. This past month, while it had the least amount of days as any other month, it felt like it had the most workable hours. So we are so excited to be getting into March. I'm going to give you guys just a quick update on some programming and then a little overview on events. So our youth soccer program is finished up, and we are excited to have our men's basketball league starting. So last year we were not able to have enough teams, but this year it will be back with 4 teams. And our co-ed softball will be starting on Monday the 12th. We have currently 6 teams for that. And we also finished up our golf league. So February saw a lot of rainbows, and so not all of the pictures that you'll see here are actually ours. We had a lot of people from the community who wanted to share their pictures, so that's kind of what you're seeing there.
Nice.
In our senior-based programs, our active adults, they learned how to make their own butter, which I knew it had to come from somewhere. I just didn't realize you could whip it up yourself. But they were very active, very excited about that. And they were also visited by the Avalon Charter School kindergartners around Valentine's Day, and they all made Valentines together, and they had a little sing-along. Our Youth Advisory Council was given an up-close and personal tour of the CAC campus, where they were also able to learn about dual enrollment programs where they can be earning college credit while they're still in high school. So we are excited about maybe having a partnership with CAC and our Youth Advisory and kind of bridging those two parties together. You guys all mentioned the Lost Dutchman Marathon. Everybody knows and is part of it. And I want to say, first of all, we appreciate whether you're volunteering or you're participating or you're bettering yourself through education. While we do appreciate your volunteerism, it is never expected. So don't feel like, you have to get something out and share. We do appreciate all that you guys do for us. So then, Lost Dutchman Days, we mentioned that it is one of our civic events. The city, we do help a lot with logistics. Our parks team works tirelessly to make sure that the rodeo grounds is in immaculate condition for that. But we, had a float in the parade, so we got to be 4th in line. I'm pretty excited for that because it means we can get back to the office and start working on other things, and we get out of traffic sooner. But overall, that event was largely successful as well. We just finished our sleepover this last weekend with 155 attendees. So we've just been incredibly blessed with amazing weather. All three of these events I don't know that we will ever see perfect conditions like we have this year. Every single one of them. No rain, little wind, full sunshine, beautiful skies, beautiful sunrises, sunsets. So it's really easy to get people to come to those things when it's, 72 degrees outside. So we also have spring break is coming up for kids in our community, and we do have activities planned for them as well at the Multi-Gen Center. And upcoming this month, you guys have your little screenshot. Every single weekend, there is something going on. So Blues and Brews will be coming up this weekend. After that, we have Dino Days at Flatiron Park. We will be offering photos with the Easter Bunny at the Multi-Gen Center. Families can sign up for a time slot. There is no charge for that, and generally there's not a really long line for that either because you sign up for a time slot. And we will end the month with our annual Easter egg hunt because it falls in March. A couple of things that we have not yet advertised, we've kept on the down low, so you guys are getting a little information, and we're keeping it on the down low on purpose. But we will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day because it is the most important holiday, in my opinion. But we've had some people ask about our Shamrock at the park, or will the leprechauns be back at Silly Mountain? We have activities planned for several of our parks, and we will be getting that information out the week before, just because in the past that we feel that if we put it out way too far in advance, a lot of stuff is gone before everybody gets to enjoy it. So we will be putting information out the week before St. Patrick's Day, which is on a Sunday. So if you want to carve some time out for that weekend to go by and visit our parks, we'll have some activities for you guys. So that concludes my recreation report, unless there are any questions.
Jamie, who do we see about volunteering for, let's see, Dino Days, Itty Bitty Olympics, and the Easter egg hunt?
So Dino Days is Jared. And if you don't want to remember, you can always just email me and I'll put you in contact with the right person. But Dino Days is Jared. And I did forget, so Itty Bitty Olympics it's a couple hours event. It's 6 and younger. They're out there throwing fake javelins and doing ball tosses and whatnot. The more volunteers we have for that, the better, because it's like 200 kids out there. So if you have a couple of hours free that morning, that's Gary Gartner. That's our sports coordinator. And then the Easter egg hunt, again, 3,000 kids looking for 10,000 Easter eggs. All the folks we can get would be fantastic. That's Jared's event as well.
Thank you.
Who took the pictures for the rodeo? Those were incredible.
Yeah,
That
those are
would be
amazing.
Matt McNulty.
That guy.
Matt.
Woohoo, shout out.
I know, he takes amazing pictures.
Yes, he does. All right. Jamie wrapped that one up. Okay, so we're going to move on to old business.
So yeah, Heather, you just announce the title of whatever we're going to be doing, and then we'll go right into it.
Read that.
Oh, I read the whole thing? Presentation, discussion, and update on Rodeo Grounds Master Plan and survey results.
All right, thank you. So we just wanted to give you a quick update. We don't have a lot of details. Last meeting, Kurt Montai came from J2 to present to all of you. We had our open house, and that was a kickoff to our second survey that went out, asking for people's input on what kinds of activities and events they'd like to see, as well as what are the most important things they want us to know about what they think should be included at the rodeo grounds. You guys all got to weigh in and give your input, and right now J2 is working on that master plan update. We will be bringing it to council sometime in April. I'll kind of go through with you a couple of quick reminders. So just for everybody's remembrance, the part that we're talking about that we purchased is just this small rectangle. It's the 20 acres here. Everything else is on the Prospector Park BLM lease. So that is still in the non-purchased rec and public purpose lease. The things that we want to do where we are having commercial entities come out and do things has to be taking place in the 20 acres. We can use the other section for parking. We can also use it for nonprofit use. So, for example, the current archery group that we're working with right now is a nonprofit. They'll be able to continue to reserve and utilize the archery range if that's where we choose to keep it. You know, we have a practice arena over here so that we have an overflow place. So some of our nonprofit things, we'll be able to utilize some of these features outside of the 20 acres. And then I guess I didn't actually start the slideshow. Sorry about that. Thought I did. So this, you won't see a whole lot of changes here. Some of the main things that we did based on the feedback we got was just making sure that we notate some things on this master plan. So restrooms were brought up a lot, and you'll see at the end, I'm gonna share a little bit about survey results. Here in this meeting, it was brought up, a lot of the groups. We're putting it in there as when buildings get built, that we consider restrooms in those locations. I just want to re-emphasize what we've been saying all along, though, is that this could be a $20 million to $30 million project, and we don't have a funding source. So right now, we spent money to purchase the rodeo grounds so that we could start moving towards having more for-profit making events, being able to rent out to more entities, and to bring more activities to our community. So we said that once we purchased that and that was complete, number one that would happen is that immediately we could start renting to for-profit groups, which we have been doing since July. The second thing, though, is that this year we budgeted to do this master plan update. The last time we did the master plan was in 2006. It's a long time ago. There's a lot of changes. We also know now that we couldn't master plan the entire area. We can still only operate commercial activities in the 20 acres. So this year's goal is to complete a master plan update. We had hired J2, who did the original master plan draft, and they did the design for some of the current amenities. We will go through that process. In April, we'll be taking to council the final master plan proposal. It will be broken up into potential phases, so that way, if we don't have the funds to do everything, we can do a phased approach early on. As well as estimates for each one of those phases and the amenities that are within each phase. So I just want to reiterate to everybody that restrooms, while they're very important for Lost Dutchman Days, which has 5,000 to 10,000 people at it, the majority of events don't have that. And so just like we do in other parks, when we have a big event that is happening at a park that has limited restrooms, we bring in porta-johns. It's much more cost effective than spending $500,000 or $1 million on a restroom facility. So just keep that in mind, so that even though those are very important needs, they might not make it when it comes time for prioritizing what we can afford to do there. However, having said that, this master plan is supposed to represent all the things that we want to make sure we capture here. So one of the things that we have done is throughout just listed that any of these buildings could be, when they're built, we should be planning to build them with restrooms. The other important thing I want to share with you is that sewer services are not planned to come to that area anytime soon. So it will be septic, which is what our current restrooms are on. And if you were at Lost Dutchman Days, you will know that a septic system is a challenging system, especially when it's not used every single day of the week. So we tend to have a lot of problems. Our guys spend a lot of time out there, you know, putting Band-Aids on things throughout a major event like we had. So really, there wasn't a lot of changes to this. J2, the folks from J2, they came out to Lost Dutchman Days on Thursday and met with Denny and Sherry Coker, who managed the rodeo portion of the event, just to kind of walk through and see it in person and see what their concerns are and what are some of the things that they want to see happening there. So they are definitely looking at that configuration. They walked around, got new photos of things, and just kind of had a great opportunity to look at what does it look like when the booths are up? What does it look like with the VIP seating? We also got a lot of really great drone footage this year. So we're going to utilize that to help us to know, kind of what we're looking at for the future. So there really wasn't a lot of major changes when we had our master plan update. I know that there were a few folks that had mentioned about a stage being in this rodeo arena. We absolutely want to be considering how we can have other events in the arena, and a stage is really important. It's very hard, though, to find a place for a stage that is also going to accommodate the type of footing that we need for equestrian events. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying, so when we visited with Westworld and some of the other places, it's very costly to transition from those things. So the folks at J2, they have that on their radar. They're going to be looking at it. They'll be presenting ideas for us of how we can accommodate that. Because it would be really tragic to have all this bleacher seating and not be able to do concerts and other things in the rodeo arena. So we'll be looking at that.
Our portable stage wouldn't suffice at all for anything.
So, we've mentioned that, and that is definitely one of our plans, especially in the interim.
Right.
So for sure, we could bring out our portable stage and make that work there. There's other options so we're visiting several facilities similar to this, and we'll be kind of looking to see how do they transition from one type of thing to the next. We have a tour at Westworld next week. We've been talking with their administration throughout the last year, just about some of the different amenities, some of the things we want to consider. Same as with Queen Creek Horseshoe Park. I think we've shared that before as well.
Before we get too far, can I address the bathrooms? So considering everything that you've said, like there being no sewer in the foreseeable future, has something like a composting toilet been considered, like what you see at the trailheads?
Yeah, so we've been experimenting with the vault toilets. And I think the composting ones are a little bit different also, and those are definitely an option. They tend to, though, be much more primitive. And so it's just really thinking about what does that look like. And they are absolutely they're much less expensive. They get pumped a little bit more regularly than a septic system does. So we'll be looking at all options. And in fact, we're putting in another one at Prospector Park on that far northeast end. So we're going to be able to see how the public responds to kind of that system. The vault toilet is one thing at the trailhead at Silly Mountain. People are just happy to have anything. At an event, again, it's no different than Porta-Johns, really, though. So absolutely, we'll be considering everything.
That's what I was thinking is something that in long term possibly, because I'm thinking like there's one at the trailhead in and I know this isn't our area, but at Lake Peralta Trail. And so I was just thinking something, like those.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
And that's what we have at Silly Mountain, is the vault.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. So a little less like a
little
bridge
different,
between.
yeah, but very similar.
Okay. Yeah.
Very
something
good.
I thought. Bathrooms, yeah. It's just that important thing. I did visit I went to the carnival with my kids. And just when you have children, we were over by the vendors, having to run them across to that other end.
Right.
So, and I know that's not Parks and Rec's events. So,
Well, but we certainly work with that event planner. We work very closely with them, and we definitely will be talking about restrooms and things like that. But it's great for all events for us to keep it in mind.
Yeah, thank you.
They also updated, I know he shared with you kind of some of the images, and some of them were really far off the sort of rustic look when we shared those last time. And so he did go through and try to put through a few other ideas of things that are already built. And keep in mind, these are just concepts. So when it comes time for design, we're going to be looking at a lot of other vendors, a lot of other things. But this is just sort of an image gallery so we can kind of get an idea of what, this one is actually a stage that's in a different park. It can have storage and restrooms behind it, so there's just a lot of different things. And it would be at a low enough profile that the views of the superstitions are still not hindered or anything like that in any way. But these are just some of the different formats of shade structures as well as event stage space on that far end that we talked about. Here's a few other samples of stages that have already been built in their design. They just wanted to kind of show, again, that concept of having those wide sidewalks and then the vendor booths lining it, that just adds a little bit more. So again, when we have weather, and we were very blessed not to this year, but in other years there's usually rain and flooding and all that kind of stuff. It's really nice having sidewalks and not all that mud for the patrons. Covered bleachers, so again, expanding the bleachers eventually. Another item, it might not make it in the phase 1, because again, we really only have one event that is pushing, the envelope, and right now we are renting bleachers for that. we could never get that return on investment on a major stage until we bring in more events, which we hope to do. But our announcer's booth is definitely a critical item that has to be done. So whatever we do on that side, it will include the announcer's booth. He just wanted to also put in a few covered stall samples. I don't remember if these were on the last. Were they both of these? Okay.
I think one was.
Okay. So just getting an idea for people to see what they're like. The other thing that we'd share that we'd bring back to you and is that just kind of the results of the survey. I will say I was really disappointed. We haven't gotten a lot of survey responses. So we've shared the little flyer with the QR code. We've had the survey for people to fill out. People could fill it out here. I think we had something like a little less than 50 people filled out this survey. And I would guess that half of them at least also filled out that survey at the very beginning when we had our big open house and our kickoff event. So I'd say it was very skewed with the folks that came to the meeting, and so they have definitely some different interests. I know we'll see about getting it out, but it's gone out through social media. We might do one more last little push, but I think we're getting a lot of really good feedback anyways. And at least the people who did take the time to fill out the survey, we do have their input. So the top activities and events that were desired, rodeos and bull riding was by far the #1 thing that was listed. And then concerts came in next after that. And then after that, everything else was kind of, a good third place. Just other equestrian events in general, craft and artisan fairs, and then beer and wine festivals. There's a whole bunch of other things that were listed as ideas that we will absolutely keep, that we will absolutely have out there. This just kind of helps us to guide our plans on prioritizing what kinds of amenities are coming to the facility. The other question that we had asked was, what was an important consideration for us to keep in mind when doing the master plan? And so what do they want us to be most thoughtful in our mind? Seating was probably mentioned the most, and it was a variety of things, from quantity, having more seating for things like Lost Session Days, to making sure it's all covered. I didn't realize this, but our seats are only halfway covered. I'd never noticed that before. The third one that was mentioned almost as often as covered was having assigned seating. So right now the seats are like benches, and they have the ability to have things put at the bottom of them, but they aren't. And so that's definitely a challenge with the rodeo, is everybody it's just general seating. And so folks had mentioned it'd just be nice to have assigned seating for other events and for things that are happening. So I don't know that we can do that. Maybe we can in our new stuff, and it's definitely something worth looking into. More restrooms was the second most requested item. We've already kind of discussed that. And then a variety of things related to ADA access. So everything from more ADA parking to ADA seating, grading that made it easier. Obviously, it's dirt out there right now, and we do have sidewalks that get to most areas, but not to the vendor booths. So those are all things that are already in our plan, in our master plan, I think, so that's really good. And then a variety of things fell under the kind of other category. Having a stage was mentioned, the covered ramadas. More tables for like eating and food court areas was listed, actually, almost as much as stage and covered ramada. So just some interesting feedback. I think those are all things that we have in our master plan. And so I think that's a really good thing.
Did anybody bring up electrical?
One person brought up electrical, but that is definitely a thing so keep in mind that this is just a survey to the public of we're going to get our advice from lots of areas, from our maintenance staff who handle everything, from the event planners that do things, our own staff that have events, and then the public of what they want to see. So while it wasn't mentioned in the survey to the public, they might not even know that that electric is a problem, but it's a #1 issue when we talked about all infrastructure. So electrical, data, so having appropriate Wi-Fi and cellular. Our IT department went to extreme measures to bring out Wi-Fi and cellular capabilities on site, portable stuff, so that way first responders could respond better than they did last year. We had 0 problems this year, unlike last year. So data, water, electricity, extending all those lines through the entire facility is definitely a priority item. So we have that on our list for sure. And then there'll be things that we'll do because we know that it'll be more multifunctional. So even though covered ramada is kind of lower down there, it might be a low-hanging fruit item that we could get for a very inexpensive price and know that right away we could bring in weddings and some other activities to help generate some revenues in the meantime of the entire project completing. Any other questions on just where we're at right now? All right. Thank you all. We'll keep you updated.
So we're going to move along to the presentation, discussion, and update on Painted Sky Park in Blossom Rock.
Excellent. So I will take that one also. Let me get this started. So if I've already shared any of these photos with you, I apologize in advance. It's hard to remember where we're at, but they have been really taking off, and super excited at the progress that our park has been making. So Blossom Rock, this is kind of the corner, and this is their big monument into their whole development. This isn't technically part of our park, but just wanted to show you a little bit of what's already out there. As just a quick refresher, so the South District Park is this section right here, so that's Painted Sky Park. And I'm gonna take you on a little video tour of that. Let's see if it works here, yes. I'll try to pause when we get to an area that I can give you a reference of where we're at. This is kind of, I believe, well, I'm not even going to guess which direction this is until we get over to the park. I'm directionally challenged at times. So as you can see, there's already, so they've got the network of sidewalks and some of their landscaping, and some of these are some of their little pocket parks. So this is one of their small pocket parks that will be maintained. It's kind of neat seeing the trucks out there, but these are all development plots. There's already, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 developers, or I'm sorry, builders that have already signed contracts and are already erecting model homes right now and spec homes. So let's see here. I'm going to take us a little quicker. Maybe.
This one of Matt's drone views?
This one is actually from Paul Lillis, who is he's the whole project manager with Brookfield.
Okay, thank you.
So really quickly, so this over here is the lake, and it's in the process of getting filled. This is the adventure playground area. And I'll keep going here. We will wrap it back around again. Yeah, so I think Ray Road is more on the left side of the screen. And then we're kind of backwards. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ray Road is the road that's at the top of the screen. And then where that truck is at the very top here, that is Blossom Rock Trail that separates this side of the park with the dog park side.
So, and this is public, right?
Yeah, so this is the public park. It is being purchased, or it's being developed and paid for by, so they are responsible for development fees, but this is a community facilities district. Everybody who purchases a house in here is technically paying a property tax that helps to pay for the infrastructure, the growth that's here, but this one is a public park, and we will be paying for maintenance of it.
So that means like we could go and use it.
Yeah, so that everybody in the community can use it. So now we've moved over into the, oh, it's going so fast now. We're moved over kind of into the dog park side. So there's a restroom being built over here. This is kind of the entryway where there's going to be a bunch of big raised planters, and these are seat walls that people can sit at. And then, I'm not sure how it's gonna, yeah, so there's 3 dog areas here, and so it'll be operated very similarly to how we do them now. So we'll have a active dog area, a passive dog area, and then a reservable dog area.
Now you say we, because that's also something that we're going to
Yes,
maintain?
so that's all part of Painted Sky Park.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And so as you can see in here, so those are kind of the raised planters. There's a bunch of mounding in here because we have a ton of, they're erecting tunnels and all kinds of like built-in play features for the dogs. So this one is going to just be another level beyond. We'll have 2 really great dog parks in our community.
What's that building there?
This right here is the entry monument, and then
Oh, yeah,
it also is a space where people can go. So there's actually a fireplace in here someplace. This is a little mini orchard. They're going to have several different, I'll say like community garden opportunities that are not public. They're privately ran, but contribute to the overall entire design. So again, that was kind of this. This is the South District Park is called Painted Sky Park. So just as a quick reminder.
Can you go back one?
Yes,
Um,
maybe,
Okay.
previous.
I just thought part of it showed the trail part.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this part right here,
Uh-huh.
the linear parks. We're going to talk about that at the end.
Okay.
So here's the lake as it was just getting designed. So as they brought in they have all the liner that's in there, and then they brought in the surface or the subsurface that was going to be at the bottom there. And then this is after it started getting filled in. So it's maybe about 2/3 of the way filled in right here. This is the walking path around it, and that'll be completely accessible. And then, like I said, this is an adventure playground that has like climbing wall and a bridge and all kinds of neat like custom features, as well as other just regular features, and then a bunch of shade on the one side of it. Right here is kind of phase 2, so it's not, so this portion is not public. This little portion is going to be where their clubhouse and their swimming pool, and then there's a little amphitheater that we'll have partnered programming in, but that'll get built in their next phase.
And I forget, is there going to be fish in that lake or no?
Yeah, so no matter what, we will have fish in it. So fish are good for the health of the lake anyway, so we are working with Game and Fish right now to get it stocked whenever we get closer. This park is expected to come online sometime in June.
Okay.
And so in April, we'll start putting out our permit and working with folks that stock the lakes. What we're still not sure of yet is whether or not we think this will probably be a catch and release lake. And then a future lake is planned in the Central District Park, and that one is much bigger. That one will probably be a true harvesting, and you can actually take, as long as you have a fishing license, you can take fish and all that. But we're not 100% sure of how that's all going to work right now. We've been working with Game and Fish on it, though. Let's see. And then I don't know if I showed this to you guys before, but so this is sort of like a conceptual rendering of the adventure playground. And it's kind of hard to tell what everything is, but it's going to be really colorful. This is sort of like this big tree house with shade and neat slides. And these are some little shade structures that are all around another play area over here. And then this is a whole under kind of a below the surface climbing wall and all kinds of other things over here.
And is that for public as well?
Yep, that's all part of Painted Sky Park.
So
And this is that
the
little
north side
section.
can use it, we could go use it, but our taxes aren't paying for it.
Our taxes are paying for the maintenance of it.
Oh, our taxes
Absolutely.
are wait, so the north side is paying maintenance for the south side? No.
We're paying maintenance for our public park that everybody in our community can use. So yes, we've shared this before that
I know.
they are developing the park and building it. So they're spending the 12 to 14 million, 24 million, I don't know what it is right now. We are not paying for that, but we are paying our proportionate share for the public portion so that everybody in our community can utilize this park. That is the maintenance of it that will be happening. And then here's another little video of the linear park. So we'll show you what that looks like, and I will try to help you to see where we're at here soon.
I was thinking those squiggly things there that went off.
Those are kind of in the middle. So I'm going to pause right here. So this is along Ironwood. And so they've used their linear park is really where they're putting a lot of their retention, and where retention basin will be, that's where they're doing a lot of their storm water, so that way they could maximize all of this space for where they want their houses to be. So in development this size requires a lot of water retention, and that's typically, if you go down Elliott, City of Mesa has that all down Elliott. And so some of this will be DG, some of it will be pockets of grass. We've tried to be as sustainable as possible, but there will be a multi-purpose path here for bikes and walkers that will end up connecting the entire community when it's all built out. So we're kind of going along Ironwood here. Yes. And then this is Ray Road up here, and
I actually drove down today to
Yeah.
go look around, and it is closed.
yes,
I got
Ray
to
is still closed.
Yes, I got to see west of Ironwood. Like, I kind of just drove through that side. And there aren't any public parks to the west of
No, so
Ironwood.
D.R. Horton currently doesn't have any public parks, but that will be included in the final phase when they get to their very far north end.
And will be included in that, the park.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Yep, there's already a
Good to know.
set-aside location for that. So
Great.
here's where that monument was. Here's the dog park and the rest of this little park over here, the lake. That playground was down there. And then, pause right here real quick. So this is called Blossom Rock Trail. This road is sort of splits up their development, and all of this is a linear park along it. So if somebody could do, it's like a massive walking path that will connect parks together. This is actually a basketball court. So all of this is a retention area. It has a basketball court in it. It will have one big field. And eventually, the area that is right here is a future school. So that's where a school will be, and we'll have shared use with, I think it's a charter school that will be there in the beginning. And, oh, I'm sorry, right here maybe is where the school is. But they'll use some of this linear park as part of their, outdoor space and play areas. And so this is still part of that linear park. All of this connection of sidewalk and just having some really great places for people to be able to walk and visit. And all of that is public.
And there's a barrier between the road.
The barrier is landscaping, sidewalk, and then this depresses just a little bit, but it's no different than any other, if you're in City of Mesa, there's parks and linear stuff right along all of Elliott.
And EJ Parks and Rec is also responsible for maintaining that area too?
So the way the maintenance agreement works is that we will be paying our proportionate share. So the association that is managing the development, they will have the maintenance contract. We'll weigh in. It has to be publicly bid, all that kind of stuff. They will manage that. They will pay for that up front, and then we will pay only our max amount. So what we spend already on public parks, we took the average per acre of that. And that is what we're going to be spending on these parks that we're building for our community.
Yeah.
So they know that if it costs more than that, then they will pay the rest of that. And then all of their private areas, they pay for completely. So we will only be paying for the private. And it's really just sending a check or paying our portion of that. So our maintenance team will not be doing maintenance down here.
Okay.
We weren't real excited about that in the beginning when we first started talking about it, but because this is growing so fast, when we started thinking about what type of capital and personnel investment we'd have to have ready to go to be able to maintain those parks, it's just not possible. And so it'll give us a chance to kind of see this model, see how it works, and to be able to concentrate our manpower in our existing area right now, I think will be really good. So we'll see how it goes. We're excited.
And will we be in charge of programming then in that park? on those parks?
So we will be working cooperatively with the association. So Jamie and Riley and myself and then Dave, our park superintendent, we've been meeting monthly with Cohere. They are the property management company. They will be managing the property, and then they help to lead the 3 associations. So there's a big community association, there's an association that does programming. They help to get all that started. They are currently doing that in Eastmark with Brookfield. And they will work cooperatively with us on different things that will be happening in those spaces.
Do you know if there's gonna be designated parking? Like if we were to wanna use that park?
Yeah, so, I don't think I can I? I can't zoom in. So on this side of the lake park, there's parking right here that is all public.
Okay.
And then over here at the dog parks, there's parking in this area. I want to say it's like right here. So yeah, once you're in the park, you can park, and then you can utilize, you can go, if you,
Okay.
if you want that to be your walking path or a running path or whatever, you absolutely can be out there. And I'll be honest, some of these other areas are just like any other community. There's not somebody out there like checking people's IDs of whether they live there or not, you know, in these little pocket areas. But our park rangers will be patrolling the parks, the public spaces. They'll be, we'll have a whole set of new things that we'll be interested in and figuring it out with the lake and all of that.
If it's set to open in June, are there any dates for when programming might begin?
You know, and so when you think of programming, I would look at this park as a much more passive area. So think about Prospector has sports fields and all that. We don't have anything like that yet. And that is a hope, and that's what we are requesting in one of the future phases. So as the community grows, we know we're gonna need more ball fields, more sports fields. So while we'll be programming, it's going to be really small scale things because we still are not going to, we have not outgrown our existing multi-gen center, our aquatic center. Any of our sports fields we have not outgrown yet. But as this community grows, we know that in the next 5 to 10 years, we have to have that on our radar. So when you think of programming, think more like an event might be over there or
Read and Rec.
yeah, Read and Rec
Yeah.
will certainly have some different,
Yeah.
so smaller types of things
Yeah.
will be there. But it will be a very heavily utilized, just come on an as-want basis.
Yeah. Great.
And then really quickly, they are planning their grand opening of the development sometime at the end of April. They haven't finalized their date, but we will be making sure that you guys will have an invite to that. They are planning a major event to kick off the opening of their models and like learning a little bit more about it, tours of the area. So we'll make sure that we're sharing that with you guys. That's that.
Thank you. For new business, we got the presentation, discussion, and update on Aquatics Program.
So last month, you guys had asked if we could give you guys a quick update on possibly what our aquatic season will look like this coming summer. So I do want to share details that I have at this point. Please know that it is still ever changing as we are still in the process of hiring, which we are very excited about this year. So we have 26 lifeguards or 26 potential lifeguards enrolled in the lifeguarding class, and we are super excited for that number. So we are in the middle of recruitment, but here's what we do know. So we know that our retention looks good. We do have quite a few returners coming back, and that makes our season a little bit easier because we're not having to start fresh with training. A lot of those staff will come in with the skills that they already need to hit the ground running. We are going to be open 7 days a week, so we are super excited for that. So I'm not sure our maintenance feels the same way, but we will be back open to having open swim hours every day of the week. So we will continue to have Wednesdays be free for our youth. We felt that that worked out really nice last summer, and we do want to be able to continue to offer that. We are moving the majority of our events to Fridays to be able to allow for Saturday reservations. So we will have a couple dive-in movies that may occur on a Saturday, but we're trying to make that shift because the demand is that people want to be able to reserve the pool for birthday parties or gatherings or whatnot, and we can certainly shift some of those events to see. Some of the events that you will see are our staple events. We're not really changing that too much. We will have Itty Bitty Beach Party. We will have teen nights. We will have a kickoff Friday night before the weekend the pool opens. We will have 4th of July. We are, though, going to concentrate on those Fridays that don't have a major event on having some theme nights. So pirates and mermaids. Frank will let you know. You can come out.
I'd be more interested in the mermaids, thank you.
Our returning staff are really looking forward to really build relationships with our pool users and to find ways to connect with them. And so having themes and having different activities that maybe just aren't in the water, they're really hoping that that can help build more relationships with those pool users. We do expect to increase our swim lessons. Expect to increase the number of participants we can take in swim lessons. So as I shared with you guys last year, if you remember at the end of the season, we're programmed out. So to add more programming would be meaning that we are possibly taking away something that maybe isn't doing as well. But swim lessons are doing very well, and we have wait lists. Those wait lists are based on also how many instructors we have. But as I mentioned, we're building on that, and we do feel confident that we'll be able to have less kids on wait list and more kids in the water. We are also bringing back our recreational swim team, so super excited to bring back the Dolphins. They are going back with the original name of the team that we had several years ago. Our staff are down in Tempe today with Kiwanis working on, they do have statewide swim meets, and we're going to host some, and we're going to travel to some. So we're excited to be able to bring that back and help build and funnel kids out of our swim lessons into a swim team, and then maybe be able to compete at the high school level as well. So we are super excited about that. I know this is a huge change for everybody, but our swim lessons are going from colors to sea animals. So instead of having a red lesson, they might have a tadpole lesson. So I know you guys are super excited that your kids or your neighbor's kids might be, you know, shrimps or jellyfish. So that is exciting. And then staff did share with me that the state used to have a statewide lifeguard Olympics where they would invite different municipalities, YMCAs or whatnot, to participate in lifeguard Olympics. And we are hoping to be able to participate in that and show the state what our AJ lifeguards can do. So we're not changing any of the fees, so none of that is going to be changed. I did not bring with me our operating hours, so I apologize for that, but we will have it up on our website and ready to go for our aquatic season.
Was it the American Red Cross or whoever we go through that changed it from colors back to?
No, so we do the Star Guard program is and they give you some flexibility to do that how you choose to do it. So our SIs, our swim instructors, are certified through Star Guard, and our lifeguards are certified through American Red Cross. Starfish. Sorry, Star Goose. They are Starfish is our swim instructor program.
You're still going to have water aerobics, right?
We will still have water aerobics. I believe I saw Gloria in the office working out some details. And I think they are looking at, again, last year they extended well past aquatic season. Those are some details we're not quite sure on. So once school goes back, we're trying to look to see what our hours will look like and what program we will extend. There's been talk of maybe some yoga in the water.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So I'm not going to give away all the secrets because I don't know them yet. But.
Is there going to be any like CPR training, like for parents that maybe have their kids there?
So last year we did that. So we will have our April Pools Day, and they do have on-site training at April's Pools Day, and that will be April 27th. And then they did try a pilot program last year at one of the swim lessons. So swim lessons run 8 days, and on one of those days, they actually went into the ramadas where the parents were sitting, and they did, it's not a full certification training, but this is what you could do to, you know, save a child until EMS or whatnot got there. I don't know for sure what dates they are planning to do that, but I wouldn't see why they wouldn't bring it back. They call it their safety day.
What are the ages of the swim team going to be?
I think it's based on their level.
So it'll be as long as they participate. Is there a youngest to?
I wish I had those details for you,
Okay.
but literally just got confirmation last week that we've got a swim coach. I don't remember what it was based on, but I know that it is also based on skill. So your 5-year-old who hasn't had swim lessons isn't going to be competing in a rec team. They'll have to have passed at least one of the levels. But now that they're changing from colors to fish, I don't know what fish they have to be. Probably a dolphin. That's what I'm going to go with.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll make sure to bring Elliot back sometime during the summer so you guys can hear straight from the fish's mouth how swim season is going.
Very good. All right, we're going to thank you, Jamie, for the presentation and discussion on public art future plans.
Okay, and so this one I just have a really quick update, and I just want to share with you what I think we shared maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that they were looking at a bunch of different temporary art installations. They could definitely, the dog park was super successful, but they wanted to try to do a multitude of things. So I know they're doing kind of a mural at the library. They're looking at some utility box kind of wraps. But what we are getting is they are looking at doing some vinyl window art installations at the Multi-Gen Center. So right now, I think they are either putting together or they've already gone out for a request or a call for artists. And I think they're concentrating on this main entrance and doing some type of an art that fits here into these windows. And if you think about like I'm so mad because I meant to bring with me so you guys could all feel what the material is. But it's basically like the sunscreen. It's an adhesive. It'll actually go on the outside of our windows because the inside already has, what do you call that, Jamie? Thank you. Yes, whatever that is on the inside. Tinting, thank you. But they print on the other side of it, and then that is where the design comes in. So the call for artists is really just for the design, the graphic and the design. They would do it digitally, and then they just send that to a printer, and then somebody who has experience in installing on Windows, you see it all the time on stores and all that kind of thing, they would be coming in and installing. And so we're super excited about that. It'll probably be a very similar process. Terrell represented our commission last time with the dog park. I don't know how they're going to do it this time. That one was a very big project, and it was a lot of money. I don't know how their process will be for selecting their artists once they get all the proposals in, but it'll all be done pretty similarly. And then we will certainly get to weigh in to some degree on what goes up. So it is art, and as long as it's not against any rules or anything that we are against, I think the Public Art Commission is really who's going to choose and say yes or no to the artist. They were very good about at least involving me and asking any kinds of concerns we had last time. So we're really excited about it. Oh, and I'm sorry, let me just show you really quickly. So here's just some samples of how they do this in other places. As you can see, there's different panes of windows, and the art, is extended through the whole thing. Here's a different one that was put up. But like I said, we would be doing it on our main, and I don't think it's this entire thing. I think it's a certain section of the panels here that they'd be looking at.
Is it just for like a certain time frame?
I don't know how long that kind of thing lasts. And so I would say it's probably at least 3 or 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Maybe longer. It just depends on, that was kind of our number one concern, is that as soon as it doesn't look like it's doing well, like if it gets faded, then we really want it taken down. So it's very inexpensive compared to some of the big structures that are there permanent. So it will be, it's technically could be temporary if we needed it to be.
It's kind of similar to what the chamber has on their windows.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And that's it. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on where we're at with public art.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And do we have a call to public?
I don't know. Just go through your things. And
Okay.
then we'll...
All right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay then. All right.
That helps, huh?
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So we're going to do a call for future agenda items. At this time, the Parks and Recreation Commissioners or Parks and Recreation staff members are given the opportunity to suggest a topic or topics to be added to the next or any subsequent agenda for the Parks and Recreation Commission. No discussion on the topics suggested are to take place at this time. Anyone want to have an update on anything particular or specific, anything that you're just like, oh, I forgot about this, or how's this going?
Chair Moeller, and you guys can continue if you have some ideas you wanted to add, but I was gonna suggest that if we won't have an update on the rodeo grounds probably until May, because we'll take it to council hopefully early April. If you don't have any pressing items, then I would recommend that we look at May instead.
Okay.
Or if there are things we can absolutely meet, there's no reason not to. I do know that one of the things we want to bring back to one of the next meetings is Dave would like to introduce our new South Parks supervisor, Josh Vega, and then we are in the middle of hiring the North Team supervisor, and so hopefully we'd have both that we could bring to a meeting and introduce you guys at whatever the next one is.
All right, so we don't have anything right now, so we'll go ahead and this selection of meeting dates, times, and locations, and the purpose. So our regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission is to be held at 6 p.m. on April 3rd, 2024, in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
Liz, you're suggesting we may just skip that meeting and wait till May?
Yeah, so you're just calling for a motion, and if somebody wants to motion, they can just put the new date. We can also keep it on that date, and we just send out a notice if we definitely don't have anything to add. It's up to you guys. So however you guys want to do the motion.
Madam Chairwoman, sorry. I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on April 3rd, 2024, if needed, at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard, and send communication if that it will to be canceled.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, do a roll call for that one. Roll call, please.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous.
One thing before we close, Jamie, you outdid yourself again.
Super cute.
Thank you,
You're
thank
you
you.
very
welcome.
much.
It's all marketing for upcoming events.
Nicely done. All right, then it looks like we're going to adjourn at 7:12 p.m.